Ben Johnson once again talks about the importance of his relationship with Caleb Williams. DJ Moore talks about having an explosion under Ben Johnson. The fact that he's ready to mentor Luther Burden. Is Luther Burden, by the way, at risk of losing his wide receiver 3 role with how injured he's been out throughout training camp? We're going to talk about all these things plus more on today's Chicago Bears Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And one thing that we have talked a lot about here, right, is the importance of the relationship between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. I feel like it's one of the most important relationships that you're going to find with this team, and it's hugely important, right? You want that relationship between your head coach and your quarterback to be one of the things, the pillars of what makes your team, right? And not the only one, but one of the pillars that definitely makes up your team and the chemistry and the identity and all that of your team. You want them to be an extension of those guys, right? And so that's going to be the thing that the Bears have to really look at when it comes down to this, I feel like, is that relationship. And this has been something that Ben Johnson has reportedly kind of been focused on since he knew he got the job. He talked about it. He said this. Thing goes beyond that for me. I brought up Ryan Tannehill before. It started with him. And then we had a number of guys that were in the quarterback room in Miami. Different quarterback coaches, different play callers. Same thing in Detroit. Whether it was Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff, different guys. You pick different things up about all of them. I think there needs to be, you use the word accountability. It's like that for every position, but certainly that position. You have to be able to tell them when it's good and when it's not good enough in front of their peers. We spent a lot of time together one-on-one as well. Some of the best things that I did when I became the coordinator was the quarterback and the play caller need to see the play the exact same. You don't develop that trust unless you spend a lot of time together. For whatever reason, if you do it in the room with all the other quarterbacks, sometimes you get a little defensive. Whereas with it's one-on-one, the truth can come out and there's no one's feelings are going to get hurt and each person can speak their truth. I guess those are some of the things that I have learned over the years. You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of when Nick Saban on Hard Knocks was there trying to convey to Matt Eberflus the importance that Matt Eberflus have a relationship with the quarterback. And clearly that's something that did not happen. I'm not here to rehash all of that, but it is an important part of the game, especially for your play caller and your quarterback to have that shorthand, right? That's always the way that I describe it. You want them to be on that same page. You want them to be an extension of each other. Ben Johnson said it. You want them to see the play the same way, right? The vision of the play, the execution of the play, what needs to happen on the play, what are the best options on the play. You want that to see that. And the fact that Ben Johnson even goes so far as to say, well, we got to have these conversations one-on-one so that way we can be in our truth. And there's no reason to be defensive. We're just in our truth. We're hearing out each other. And that's the thing that Ben Johnson said that to. He didn't say that, the quarterback needs to see it my way, right? The quarterback needs to execute the play the way I drew it up. It's like, no, we need to be able to talk about what we see out there together, and then we need to solve it. That shows a lot of trust in your quarterback. That shows a lot of trust in yourself and vice versa. And that's something that we have not had here for the Chicago Bears, right? And so Ben Johnson coming in and understanding that relationship right away, something that Matt Eberflus had to call on somebody to help him understand the importance of that relationship. Ben Johnson gets it because he's been there before. He's been the quarterback's coach. He's been the offensive coordinator. He's been the play caller. He's been all these things. And so to have that shorthand with your quarterback, that's something that goes without saying. So, you know, as the Bears continue to build this thing on out, right, and develop what they're trying to do is build a culture, build an identity. Like I said many times, I'm not going to say that they've done it yet, but they're trying to do those things. And in trying to do those things, these are the things that you need, that you want to hear, that you need to get through to be able to get there. And so, Caleb, hopefully being open. And I love that Ben Johnson also pointed out that we're not just going to talk about what you do good. We need to talk about what you did bad. We need to talk about what you're missing out there. That's how you build things up. That's how you get better. It's called growing pains for a reason. You can't get better if you're not willing to talk realistically about the things that you aren't doing well. And that's hopefully what Caleb is going to be able to do here with Ben Johnson. We're not in those rooms. We'll never know. But Ben has talked. It's been the same message basically since he got here. that relationship with Caleb Williams is one of the most important relationships that you have going on here. And you got to get that done. And hopefully that they can. And through that relationship is going to lead to other parts of your team operating well, right? And that comes down to the next topic that we're going to get into. And that's DJ Moore talking about himself and thriving under the offense of Ben Johnson. And, DJ Moore has gone through his things. Bears fans, we like to pick our targets out. DJ Moore turned into one for some Bears fans. But he did say this: it's not hard unless you're not studying. If you're studying on your stuff and knowing different spots, you'll be okay. That's what he talked about Ben Johnson's offense. Yeah, to shake things up, keep everybody motivated and going. You never know where you're going, what you're going to get the next day. Then there's always a question on what we got, and you've always got to be ready. You have to wait until the season to see. You can't give away too much because we're doing a lot right now and throwing in a lot. We're going to have to wait and see. DJ Moore is still a huge important part of the Chicago Bears offense and the scheme that we have here. And I know, I've had the conversation, so I'm not blaming anybody for it. Like the conversation to have on DJ Moore, and he was one of the players that the coaches wanted to talk about the body language and things with, right? But DJ Moore is, whether Rome Odunze eventually becomes a wide receiver one, whatever happens there, DJ Moore is still an important part of the Chicago Bears defense. He's not necessarily the best route runner. We know that's not necessarily the best part of his game, is just the running routes portion of it. But what he can do once he gets the ball is tremendous. What he does as far as not dropping the ball is tremendous. And the chemistry between him and Caleb wasn't always the best last season. There are definitely times where you saw where it can improve, where it failed at, those type of things. And you just want that to get better. And hopefully that will. And so, DJ Moore, as well as a lot of people in this offense, are slated to have so much better seasons just because the offense is competent, right? Having a competent offense is what's going to really separate a lot of this. Then on top of that, the originality that Ben Johnson's going to have, as far as it's not just going to be the stagnant play calling. It's not just going to be Caleb Williams doing everything from shotgun either, which I do think hurt the Bears a little bit in some places. Now, Caleb also needs to grow as a quarterback, and that's one thing that we're never going to act like Caleb is a finished product or he doesn't have things that he needs to help and that he needs to do better for this team to be better, because he absolutely does. But DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and having the weapons that we have for overall, that's a big reason why there's a lot of faith around this team, because DJ does shape up to benefit a lot. When you look at how Ben Johnson, now the slot receiver usually is one of the better statistical outputs under Ben Johnson's offensive system and scheme. But outside of just that, having the guys here that matter, right? And the guys here that can be those tools. One of the things that Ben Johnson is going to try to do is get the ball in the hands of his playmakers, regardless of how you need to do that. We want to get the ball in your hands so that you can make a play, and then we're going to build off of that. And that's something that DJ Moore is going to potentially thrive in. Is just finding ways to get the ball in his hands, whether that means coming off slants, whether that means curl routes, whether it means going out towards the outside, whether it means coming inside the middle, which then again, Caleb Williams is going to have to grow in that passing in the middle, right? All those things are going to have to work in tandem together to get this Bears offense where it needs to be. But DJ Moore has a huge role in this offense. And I think he realizes that even outside of just offensive output as well, DJ Moore also talked about being a mentor, not only to Luther Burden, but also to Rome Odunze. And that's also something that you need to have here. And this shows a really good veteran mindset, in my personal opinion. He said this: where their role, they're keeping me young. Even though I'm not not that old in the room, they're like, what? Rome just turned 23 today. Happy birthday to him. But just seeing them follow behind my lead and just grow from there. Rome's taking a step up this year. I can already tell. And that Luther Burden III, who we drafted in the second round, I can't wait to see what he does. I saw him in rookie minicamp doing a lot of things, so there's that. I watched some of his highlights during rookie minicamp. Sadly, not out there right now, but I know he's watching. He's been asking a lot of questions, so I've just been helping him that way. Mentorship, leadership, that's something that the Bears have also lacked in the course of us not having a true culture, is that we've been missing some of that leadership, missing some of that culture, missing some of that, the recipes, right? You want to pass those recipes down. And DJ Moore, who's seen his fair share of losing, being in both franchises that he's been under since he's been an NFL player, I'm sure that he wants to get to winning at a high level, right? And so he can help that curve of, hey, this is what we did wrong, right? This is what you need to understand about this offense. This is how we can fit together. Talking about their job is to keep him young. I love that, right? Because in a way, that's true. And not only that, but them all keeping each other fresh, keeping each other young, keeping each other healthy. when you have the amount of weapons that the Bears have built with this, and now they've added the offensive line to that as well, that's going to be where you can spread things out. So it's not going to be about defenses just keying in on one player, because what if you do? You try to double DJ Moore. Okay, bet. Luther Burden's coming across the middle. Or now you got Rome on the other side of that. What you doing over there with him, right? So that's what you want to do, and that's what Ben Johnson's really going to try to explore with his coaching philosophies, is how to explore mismatches, how to create and force those mismatches as well. And you got to have talent from so many different positions to do that. That's why having Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland could also be a huge part of this whole thing working together and coming together in the way that it can be, is having those guys out there working in tandem and getting together. And Luther Burden III, who has not been out there, Adam Johns of The Athletic, basically pointed out the fact that there's a chance, and again, a slim chance. We're not saying that there's a huge one, that Olamide Zaccheaus could actually pass him up because of what he's doing out there already. Clay Harbor of CHSN also pointed that out, right? Saying this is a bigger competition than people think. You can trust him, but he's extremely quick. Talking about Zaccheaus. You're obviously going to have a number of packages for Luther Burden, but I think after watching Zaccheaus, I believe I'm saying that right. He has a number. Zaccheaus. He has a number of packages for himself as well. He's extremely quick. He's a good blocker. He's catching everything. He's just he's just this guy that's crafty, quick, will do anything and whatever you want him to do to help the team win. Like dirty stuff, but also you saw him get 500 yards last year on 45 catches with a team that made the NFC championship game. That counts for something. And I do think that Olamide has become something that we've kind of forgotten about, right? When the Bears signed him, we talked about him being that perfect slot under Ben Johnson's system. Now you go out and get a rookie Luther Burden who has so much potential that's crazy that you can't ignore, that it's easy then to kind of forget about, hey, whether he works out to be the wide receiver 4 or the wide receiver 3, there's still going to be a lot of options out there for Olamide to be able to have an amazing production relative to his role for this Bears team. Again, weapons, right? And when you talk about even the praise that Ben Johnson had for Zaccheaus as well back in March when we got him, as well as what he done in OTAs and mini camps, I hold myself accountable to that. I've kind of forgotten about Olamide to a degree, not like forgotten that he's on the roster, but just the place that he could have on this Bears team, right? And how deep this wide receiver room really does go for the Chicago Bears. It's deep, man. It's really deep. This may be one of the most complete wide receiver rooms that we have as far as players thriving in their role last year. And that's not to take away from anything, but last year, even with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze, really good wide receiver room, but having those guys in the slot was always like, okay, we're going to line one up in the slot depending on what packages that we have out there. But you have two guys now who thrive as a slot receiver. Luther Burden thrives as a slot receiver. Olamide thrives as a slot receiver. That, like, having guys that can do either or is great, but having guys that thrive in roles, that's where you can get some special sauce at, right? I think that's what the Bears are trying to do here with having Rome, having DJ Moore on the outside. You're still going to see some packages with them lighting up in the slot to keep things interesting. Hell, you're going to see Colston Loveland maybe even lying in the slot to keep things interesting. All those things happening in tandem. What have we talked about? Forcing mismatches, forcing the defense to adjust, forcing the defense in a way to show their hand, because they have to look at what the Bears are doing and say, hey, we don't know what they're doing. You put all of that out in a 12-man personnel as well, that thing could be really special. And that's what the Bears are hoping to find and unlock here. It's going to be a tall test. Right now, everything is in theory. They got to show that they can do it in reality. But I think that overlooking Olamide, and especially if Luther Burden does keep having some issues, it may be that he doesn't start off as the starting slot receiver. Maybe that does go to the veteran in Zaccheaus. And if that's the case, great, right? There's no problem if that ends up being the case. No problem there, because you're still having the players that fit the talent, that fit the position, that have the talent to play the position, all out there where they need to be. And that's the important part of how this all fits together. So this just continues to get me excited about what the Bears can be. Like, again, I've told you guys before, I'm trying to hold my excitement and not let my excitement become expectation. But it's hard not to see the vision of what this team can be offensively. And the Bears, who have had really good offenses, have never had a special offense. I don't think we've ever had a special offense. We've come close to it, but we've never had an offense that you truly look at as special, right? This is the time where the Bears could start getting to that place of having that special offense And let's hope that they can get there, man. But all these things working together in tandem, that's big. That's big. But with this conversation with Zacchaeus and Luther Burden, I want to end the show on talking about this. Who are some veterans that roles could end up losing their roles, or at least be pushed in 2025 by some young players and rookies, right? So I think the first one that we have to talk about that is Luther Burden. I do think that while Luther Burden is shaped up to be a slot, and a slot purely at first, I think that as Luther Burden grows, and it's not to say people, when you go and look at the pre-draft process for Luther Burden, nobody doubted that he was going to be a starting wide receiver. There were some doubts about if he was going to be just a slot and how much he can learn to do on the outside. And I think that Luther Burden that's growing this year is going to put some pressure on exactly how you balance everything. And especially because you do have Olamide there as well, you're going to have that pressure there as well, as far as, all right, if we do have some matchups where it makes sense with Luther Burden being on the outside, we can put Olamide here in the slot and we're good to go, right? So I'm not saying that anybody's going to lose their job. I'm not saying he's going to pass up Rome Odunze or pass up DJ Moore, but I do think he's going to push to be used a little bit more creatively, which then is going to lead him to maybe being a little bit more on the outside, right? So again, that's long term when it comes down to Luther Burden. I think to start off with, he's going to have a very specialized and focused role, and I think that's going to be what's best for him. I think that's going to be what's best for him to grow his game, adapt to the NFL, all those type of things. But I think when you look at it, man, Odunze is going to take a big leap forward. I think when you look at how he's transformed his body, how he's grown as a player, just coming in, the better offense, those type of things. But Luther Burden coming in from that second round, I think that he's going to have an opportunity to really make a name for himself in this rookie year. And then going forward, he's going to make it a little bit more interesting. But this is a good place for the Bears wide receiver room to be in. The Bears wide receiver outlook is probably the best that we've had in quite a while. You remember when we were having, and the conversation was, is Darnell Mooney actually number one? Right? Like, when that was the conversation that we're having, now we're having a conversation about the depth that we have here and how that depth could push players to maybe not get as many passes that they've gotten before. And that's no knock on Darnell Mooney. He's over there he had a great year last year. He's going to have a great year again this year. But I think that just shows the place that this Bears team has now gotten to with what they're doing here. Luther Burden is going to play a really good complementary role initially. But do not be surprised if by the end of the season, we're looking at a Luther Burden saying, hey, this guy could be good, right? Then, of course, you have the Ruben Hippolyte, Noah Sewell. And this is a battle between two young players, right? But I do think that, it's not Noah Sewell's job. And the thought process is that you would hope that would have been, right? Noah Sewell's been here. He's been under this system, he's been with this franchise, even though change of coaching staffs and things like that. But, we primarily use two linebackers. That's Tremaine Edmonds, that's TJ Edwards during the 2024 season. That's going to be a lot of similar things under Dennis Allen, but a little bit of a different way. Now, you're even with that starting strong side guy, when we do go to three linebackers, who that guy is going to be, Ruben Hippolyte as a rookie is already making a case for himself to come in and be that starting strong side linebacker. And I think that's really good when it comes down to it. Hearing him going one-on-one in coverage with Cole Kmet is really good. Now that Jack Sanborn's not here, it's really opened up a gap. And whoever takes that, between Noah Sewell, between Ruben Hippolyte, I'm going to trust Dennis Allen and what he's doing here. But looking at how Dennis Allen ran ran things in New Orleans, I do think that it's clear that they're going to use a three linebacker more than the Bears did. It's just who they're going to have lined up as that linebacker. But Ruben Hippolyte is definitely somebody that's coming into camp. He's pushing Noah Sewell for that starting position, and he may very well be the favorite by now, to be 100% honest with you. And we'll see. Now, Noah Sewell, he's familiar with the scheme. He's been here before. He may have a leg up in that case, but it's not like he has a whole lot more experience than Ruben Hippolyte. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But Hippolyte, I think with his size, the speed that he has there, the 46 games that he started over his 5-year collegiate career as well, I think that Ruben Hippolyte really does have a leg up to be that. And then it comes down to the one that Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, right? Could Colston Loveland end up becoming the starter? I do think you're going to see a lot of these guys out there used in tandem. I don't think that you're going to see like Cole Kmet being completely phased out of the offense, but I tell you what, Colston Loveland could end up by the end of the season playing more snaps than Cole Kmet. Now, I think that Cole Kmet can also have a great season under Ben Johnson. I've said that for a while, even before we drafted Colston Loveland. I think that Cole Kmet is going to have a resurgence under Ben Johnson because of the way that Ben Johnson tailors his system to the skill set of the players that he has here and how he does go to the 12-man personnel. I think that's going to be great for him. I think it's going to be amazing that Cole Kmet is shaped up to have a really great season for the Chicago Bears. but I will not ignore the fact that Colston Loveland and what he can end up turning into. I mean, you draft somebody 10th overall, that there's that thought process that, again, regardless of who's listed as a starter, that there could definitely be a period of time there, and especially in some matchups where Loveland is playing more snaps than Cole Kmet. Now, he's going to have to earn that. And I think that Cole Kmet is not going to make it easy for him at all. But, of course, the Sam Laporta comps and all those type of things, we'll see. Now, I don't think it's going to be contentious. I think that these guys are both going to play a complementary role to help each other. I think that's what's going to be here. That's what's needed here for this Bears team right now. But, to hear that even Cole Kmet, like Ben Johnson settled that with Cole Kmet, talking about like how Loveland is here to help him. But I think when it comes down to it, you look at the scheme and how players can be schemed up, Loveland has a lot of versatility when it comes down to that, maybe more than Cole Kmet. But we could see a change in this offense as well. So we'll see what that ends up shaking out to. But let me know what you guys think on that down below. What are some other rookies that you think have a chance to start this year for the Chicago Bears? I did not mention Kyle Monangai. Is that a guy that you guys think? Let me know that down below. Anyway, you guys can follow us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Like I like to end every episode on Chi-Town up, but Bear down. I love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.